Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to a very spooky edition of Movies Are Terrible Live. You guys are awesome for stopping by. Just taking a look in the chat, see a bunch of the usual suspects in here, and I'm so glad that you've decided to stop by and spend a little bit of your Thursday evening talking movies with us. I've got an expert panel of panelists here with me today. Yeah, buddy, I'm excited about it. And okay, I didn't tell y'all this ahead of time. Caleb, Ian, we can talk about what we did yesterday, but we can't reveal what the outcome of said thing was. So, first of all, you know him, you love him. From Movies Are Terrible, returning as always every week, Caleb Miles. What's up, Caleb?
What's up, man? So you mean I can't spoil an entire other video?
No. Well, it's Alex's, so I don't
damn it.
really care that much, but he might. And also, welcome to the show. I'm sure many of you know him, Ian Elliott Carter of The Controversy. What's up, Ian?
Hey, thanks for having me on, old man.
Thanks for calling me old man, youngin. Always a pleasure to be berated by your punk ass. I really appreciate it.
I only do it because I love you.
I know, for sure.
Just as a warning, you know, when it's me and Ian on the same show, this shit is going to go way off the rails at some point.
Yeah. It feels off the rails as it is. Random Annie's channel. Dude, how do you do these sweet thumbnails? I was just now talking a little bit about that with Ian. Photoshop does the heavy lifting. They just now, since Photoshop 21 just now came out, there's a bunch of really cool new extra features in there that I've been having some fun with. Looks like our buddy King of the Hills 34 is in the chat with the super chat $2.99. Thank you very much, man. Really do appreciate that. It's always good to see you in here. And he says all-star crew this week.
I
assume he's talking about y'all.
Yeah.
I'm always here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're just living in our world.
Yeah, no doubt. It's your world, and I'm just occupying space in it. Actually, I'm occupying my own space. You two suckers are occupying the same space. Oh, look at that. Jim Loves Art, $2.99 super chat. A quick tip. Watching Thirst, got to go VOD later. Thirst is a good one. Hell yeah. So, as you guys know, the weekly Movies Are Terrible Live podcast is here so that we can talk movies with you. There's not a lot of new movies coming out in the last couple of weeks, so we're just basically having real casual conversations with everybody. And the fact that we have you guys in the chat is greatly appreciated. It helps move the conversation forward. So if you guys have any topics, suggestions, comments that you want to make, leave them in the chat section. We'll try to take a look at them if we get a chance. We're going to start this podcast off by talking about some of the week's big movie news headlines, relatively big movie news headlines. And then we're going to talk about this week's terrible movie book club movie watch thing that we watched. As in me and Ian, we watched it.
Come on, Caleb. What the hell?
Well, I have a heart out. I was going to watch it, but I'm like, I'm not even going to be here to discuss it. So.
Right. So Caleb gets to flex and leave like halfway through the conversation. He's got other responsibilities, so it's fine. But before we do get into the week's headlines, I just now hit 4K subscribers, you guys.
Good job, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I know I have no illusions about the fact that I would not have gotten here without the awesome people that collaborate with me, without the fact that without you guys, I'm just not making the same quality of content. So I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out and being a part of that. All of you guys that are in the super chat, thank you very much. Or excuse me, all of you guys that are in the live chat, thank you very much. It's a huge milestone. It's not that it's a massive number when you compare it to other YouTubers, but I've been talking to Matt from Matt Lane Fitness, a lot over the past couple months. He really helps me out when I start to struggle because I'll get in a bad way and start comparing myself to other YouTubers, and it can be hell on my mental health. Anybody experience that?
I just want to say this. I do experience that, doing that comparison game. It sucks. But I will say this, no matter how many subscribers like that a lot of bigger people have, I still think you and Alex, me, myself, every time you're on a show with Caleb, sometimes we produce better stuff than these top tier guys. That's just my opinion. Not trying to be biased, but I feel like you deserve to be up there to the level of anybody.
Thank you, man.
To the YouTube gods.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man, because I've heard you get pretty down before, especially when
Yeah.
we were doing our other show and we would get like 30 views
Yeah.
on a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah. Well, and we did it because we loved it. I mean, there's definitely no other way of slicing it when you do it religiously every week, 2.5, 3 hours at a time for 2 years. It's obvious you do it because you love it, and I do. And I mean, this has been a great opportunity for me to meet people, network, make friends that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Like literally, all three of us, we know each other through this kind of creative space and this medium. We're all in different parts of the country, and we still we hang out, we talk all the time, and that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, man, it's kind of cool that you can I was never the type of person who like made a ton of friends online. Like I'm just not that guy, but because of YouTube, I have made friends online, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Sure. Hey, when we first met, like the first time, because we met online, like you said, but when we first met in person, what was your first impression? You thought I was taller, huh?
Oh, yeah,
100%.
100%.
Everyone thinks I'm shorter online. I have the other thing. Everyone's shocked how tall I am in real life.
Yeah, I heard you were a giant, man.
And yeah, I'm a freak of nature.
6'4",
6'5",
6'5".
6'5", holy shit! Just tall for no reason.
5', 280, big ass giant of.
No
You
shit.
just B5 thumb looking.
Yeah, no, it's bad, bro.
All right. Geisha Warrior, $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Abby says, congrats, Jeremy, and hi to Caleb and Ian. So Geisha Warrior says, what's up, you guys?
Hey, what's going on? Much love, peace, and chicken grease.
Yeah, you guys
You're
make
the
sure.
only other person I've ever heard say that besides me from the past.
Really?
Yeah, you're the only other person I've ever heard in my entire life say that.
I say that literally on every video. I have my son saying it on my videos now.
That's his sign off.
Right. That's my sign off. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I really like the stuff that Ian does over on the Controversy as well. If you guys are in the chat right now and you haven't went over and checked out the Controversy, he does a lot of really cool content, whether it's related to movies, TV shows, pop culture, hip hop, a little bit of political stuff. We talk about all sorts of stuff, and I'm actually on the past couple of videos from the last week. So if you guys want to head over there, check those out, leave a like, leave a comment, all that kind of good stuff. It helps the algorithm. And that's what it's really about, serving the algorithm gods.
Absolutely. And help keeps me off the streets, too. So,
man, you're the only person other than myself that I've ever heard say that. Stupid. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and jump into this week's terrible topics. So first of all, Caleb sent me a picture of this just a little bit earlier, and I actually I thought it was pretty cool, so we'll talk about it for a little bit. This is from TheVerge.com. Tom Holland's Nathan Drake revealed in first photo from the long-in-development Uncharted movie. Caleb, you got skin in this game because I know of the three of us, you're probably the biggest gamer. First of all, what do you think about an Uncharted movie? What do you think about what we've seen from it with Tom Holland?
So first of all, Uncharted is one of my favorite video game franchises. It's incredible. The problem with Uncharted, it's a video game that draws very, very heavily from Indiana Jones to the point where the character is pretty much the same character archetype. And now you're going to make a movie based on a video game that was heavily inspired by Indiana Jones. We already have that. It's called Indiana Jones. So I'm not that excited about it, actually. I think this casting is very bizarre for both Tom Holland and, more than Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg is the older character Sully. Very bizarre. This is a movie I don't have any hatred for, but like I just cannot get myself to care about this film in the least, as much as I am a fan of this franchise.
So would you, in a more traditional casting scenario, you would think Mark Wahlberg would be the more age-appropriate Nathan Drake?
Yeah, and I feel like what they're doing is what everyone does, is they want to make a long franchise. This will give them opportunity because the Uncharted series, it starts later, but they have a lot of flashbacks all the way to when Drake's a kid. So it goes back and forth on a couple of different franchises. Number 3 particularly does a lot of that. So I think they're kind of starting there, and the idea is to get a long-running franchise of this. My problem is it's an incredible game, and I say this all the time. Just because something's good as a video game doesn't mean it's going to be a good movie. And I worry that's going to happen with Uncharted.
Well, shit. I mean, just point to any random example of a video game adaptation up to this point. It's slim pickings as far as good ones. Ian, what do you think about an Uncharted movie? What do you think about the casting and the production images?
Well, I think you hit it on the nail when you said Caleb would be the one that would know a little bit more about video games and stuff like that than me and you. I'm kind of in agreement with Caleb. This, from what I've seen from this video game, it's not really Tom Holland's not really the first choice. But I will say this: what's kind of sucks for Tom Holland is the same thing that sucks for like Frankie Muniz. Remember that guy from Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah,
dude could play like a 16-year-old for the rest of his life. And I think that's going to be Tom Holland's problem within years to come, because we still see him he's got a baby face. He's still like, he's got this teenage trope. But in reality, what is he, like 22 or 23 right now?
Yeah. He's
Something
getting up there.
So
it looks like he's like 16.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of sucks for him, because like not only is he a great actor, and which I do recommend everybody see that movie that he did recently on Netflix. Something about what is that called?
The Devil All the Time.
Yeah, that one. So he showed he's an amazing actor. Like he said, he showed he could switch it up and be serious and stuff like that. But that still doesn't help your look, at the end of the day. I think he's going to be one of our greatest actors of his generations. I could see him, going on for years to come. But like, it's gonna be a big battle for him when it comes to like that look.
That's a really good point. Real quick, shout out to Random Andy's channel for the $5 super chat. You guys are going to enjoy this one. I know I did when I read it. Shout out to the 3 sets of great white teeth. My mother was a dental assistant, so it's something I easily notice. Haha, keep up the great content. Thank you. We'll take that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All these curly whites. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate not being able to tell my teeth are a little crooked. They're clean. Yeah. They're a little janky. Ian, you're right about Tom Holland having that look. I was watching a movie last night called Oh God, Yeah, or Yes, God, Yes.
I know what you're talking about. I actually enjoyed that movie.
I haven't finished it. I started it last night. It's got the pretty little girl that plays Nancy in Stranger Things as the lead actress in it. She's in her 20s. She also has that same look. Like she's playing a high schooler in this. She played a high schooler in the first season of Stranger Things 4 or 5 years ago. So like she's kind of perpetually going to be stuck in that place. That said, looking at the still image from Uncharted, it really looks to me like they get the aesthetic. Like to me, it very much looks like a still from the promotional material that I've seen from the game. And Tom Holland doesn't look that much different, but they were able to just out of sheer use of lighting and color correction, able to make him look a little bit more aged up and a little more weathered, I guess, than Tom Holland typically is. So I actually like the promotional material. Prior to seeing that, I would have been like, no, Tom Holland is clearly not the right pick for Nathan Drake. But now seeing it in context, I'm like, it did a pretty good job of making it look like what I think fans have come to expect from it.
Yeah, I think Mark Wahlberg for me is the weirder casting as Sully more than Tom Holland. That's so bizarre. Like, this is supposed to be a grizzled, like 60-year-old man, and then they got Mark Wahlberg, and I'm like, he just personality-wise, nothing. I don't see it. I love Mark Wahlberg. I actually really enjoy a lot of his films. Just as this character, I'm like, I don't get it. But I'm always the person who's like, give actors a shot.
Yeah,
like no matter what. So will I check it out? Sure. I mean, they could all prove me wrong, and it could be incredible. So I hope it is, but
yeah,
it's probably going to be a video game movie.
And I think I got less of a bias anyway, because like you said that you understand this video game and played it. I've not. So I'll literally be going in blind. So I'm just there to enjoy the movie. I have no judgment in the calls of the casting choices.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I know that the big fan favorite casting, and I would imagine who Nathan Drake is heavily based on. I can't think of what the guy that does his voice is, but I've seen him.
Nolan North.
Nolan North. Yeah. I feel like Nolan North's performance is very similar to the archetype of Nathan Fillion from Firefly, and I remember that was the out in front casting choice of all of the fans. It's like, you got to get Nathan Fillion in it as Nathan Drake. Caleb?
I mean, I think he's actually a little bit too old. He
Yeah.
would be good for where he's at. You know who I think would actually pull it off is I think Chris Pratt actually could pull off this role very well. He's kind of that same like goofy, smart ass type of thing. I think he could pull it off. I think a Ryan Reynolds could pull this off. This character has a ton of comedy. That's like a big part of him. He's Han Solo. He's Indiana Jones Han Solo. That's the character he is. And I don't know, because I haven't seen enough of Tom Holland's work, if he can pull off that role. But I hope he does. I hope he proves me wrong.
Yeah, we've already started to see Chris Pratt kind of take that archetype with Star-Lord, and then in the Jurassic movies. It feels like he's kind of being positioned as the new, like, I guess, everyman who's also an action hero kind of role. And I feel like continuously casting the same actors for the same kind of roles gets a little bit tiresome. So I'm kind of cool with it. We'll see how it goes, though. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments section. Let us know what you think about the new images from Uncharted. What do you think about Tom Holland being cast in this role? We would love to hear your thoughts and ideas down below. Also, and I just now saw Mark McKeever posted this release today. I have not seen it.
I'm not either.
None of us have seen it. Let us know what you think about it over in the live chat. I'm definitely curious to get a reading on that, and I'm gonna be checking it out here after a little bit. So appreciate the heads up there.
I'm excited because the last movie was great in my opinion.
Oh
The
yeah,
one that came out last year. Yeah, I thought Jamie Lee Curtis pretty much brought life back into the franchise.
So the last one actually is pretty good, because I was so checked out from the series by the time it came out.
Me too.
I was just like, whatever.
I think so. I think it's good.
Okay,
I feel like it's the best Halloween sequel. You know what I mean? Like, it's the best one that's not the first one.
Yeah.
I don't think I can say it's better than John Carpenter's original, but I think there would be arguments to be made that it is a better I mean, they had a lot more resources, and filmmaking's come a long way since then, but you can't compare to the original. But so Michael Bay is producing a pandemic thriller called Songbird.
Apparently we're having audio issues. It says that people are saying that the audio is coming in and out.
Somebody said
Now
weird,
this thing is
not
off.
for me. And muting.
KJ, hear my
Audio is
clap,
off.
people.
Sync issues. It is for me. Let's see what's going on here. Audio video is always very out of sync. It shouldn't be.
SpaghettiOs.
There was a lag there for a second. I can't do much about it at this point. It looks like my connectivity is excellent, and it's possible that there was just a second that it glitched out. I'm going with you. Leandro Gomez says mine is perfect, and Chief Supreme says seems fine for me. I'm going with y'all. I don't know what these other people are talking about.
We'll just cherry pick the ones that are great.
The ones that fit my narrative. Correct.
Politics.
Let's see. Try fast forwarding 10 seconds. It's not a Wi-Fi problem. I think the mic is half plugged in. Okay. Are y'all having any issues hearing me?
I hear you perfectly.
I hear all of you guys perfect.
Okay, so there is a possibility that because we're using Google Meets, that if two of us try to talk at the same time, that it might prioritize one over the other. And I'm letting the guys in the chat know more than y'all. Okay, it's sorted out. No problem now. Audio is fine. Uh-oh. Getting some mixed signals from you guys. I'm getting nervous. All right, we'll move on. To the Michael Bay thing. I don't know if this is in good taste, you guys. Michael Bay is producing a pandemic thriller called Songbird, and it's about a world 4 years into a lockdown and haunted by COVID-23.
Wow.
For all the terrible things that 2020 has wrought, Songbird imagines a future in which things get even worse. The film, from producer Michael Bay and director Adam Mason, takes place 2 years in the future, in which COVID-23 now wreaks havoc on the world by attacking the brain. Infected Americans are forced into quarantine camps called Q zones, while some fight back against these brutal restrictions. So it's the war of the anti-maskers is what I'm getting out of this.
Oh boy.
I don't fucking know, dude. It seems too soon, but maybe I'm maybe I'm a snowflake. Maybe I'm overly sensitive. Caleb, did you read this article?
I didn't read the article. I just watched the trailer.
Okay, well, I didn't see the trailer. How was it?
It actually looks really awesome.
Oh,
It
God.
looks really, really good. It's one of those things that I just love in general in like horror films or anything where it's overreach of government, you know, that type of thing, because that thing is definitely terrifying and it's happened in history. So I think it's really cool. Is it maybe a little too soon? Yeah, of course it is. You know, we're still in the middle of this thing, and who knows, we could still be in the middle of this thing 4 years from now. We have no idea. It looks really good, though. It looks like a solid horror film.
Could you call it anything else? Could you just call it anything else other than COVID-23? But then I'm thinking, as I'm saying this, I'm like, yeah, they could have called it anything, but is it going to be as marketable if it's not called COVID-23? Ian, how does this story hit you? What you think about this, man?
I mean, if you call it AIDS too, it's not going to really draw a lot of people to the.
That's true. That's true.
But no, I'm with Caleb. When I first saw this trailer, I was like, this looks awesome. You know, Michael Bay's a hit or miss, a lot of misses recently, but if anything, he knows how to bring suspense and action. You know, storylines, not really, but everything else visually, he's a mastermind. Is it too soon? 100%. I'm having anxiety every time I turn on social media or walk outside, and I'm still trying to get over the fact that there's masks and, you know, a crazy election and you know, racial injustice, everything that's, you know, makes up the ingredients of 2020. You know, it's giving me all-time high anxiety. And then you're gonna make a movie about my anxiety. Thank you, Michael Bay, you fucking douchebag. But it does look good. It does look good.
I can't speak to the quality of the trailer because I haven't seen it, but I do like the cast. I don't know who Sophia Carson is, but I do know that Craig Robinson, Bradley Whitford, Peter Stormare, Jenna Ortega, Alexandra Daddario, Paul Walter Hauser, and Demi Moore are all in it. So they've stacked the cast. I mean, it's a very impressive group of people involved in it. I don't know who the director is, but I am very familiar with Michael Bay's work. And Michael Bay's never been a director that's been like synonymous with being super classy or anything like that. So
yeah,
it's not a big shocker to me. I just think it's crazy that we're going all in and we're just going to do it. I guess if you're not tired of all the inundation of coronavirus and pandemic media that you're consuming 24 hours a day via social media and the news and just like walking outside, I guess now you can watch a $150 million movie about the same shit. Kind of what you were saying, Ian. It's like, it's really playing on our collective uneasiness.
Mhm.
So,
well, another thing for me, and Ian brought this up too, is like I started watching what did I watch? It was some movie, and it was very much about, it was like a horror film about like racism. And honestly, I had to turn it off. I'm like, I just can't mentally right now watch a film like this. I feel like this could be the same thing. Looks great, but I can picture halfway through me going, I don't know, this might be too early, and just turn it off.
Yeah. I understand that.
I can definitely understand that as well. Random Andy's channel brought up Contagion as an excellent film. It's very good. I mean, there's some good outbreak movies. I think Quarantine, the American version of Record, which is another movie kind of about a virus outbreak or a pandemic outbreak. They're good. I just don't know how much different this is going to be from another zombie movie. Like, is that what the trailers gave you guys, or did it not have that vibe?
Nah. From a zombie movie, I didn't get that vibe. I
Not
got
at
it.
all.
It seemed pretty centered to what's going on now, but just like a little bit more like, hey, the government's more involved.
So the
in it
threat
than
then
they
is
are.
the threat is the government. The threat's not necessarily the virus, or like what's happening to the people that get the virus.
It doesn't. It's mainly the government. It seems like government overreach is more the threat than. I mean, the virus obviously is, but it's more about people like, oh, you have a temperature. We're coming into your house.
And we're
The
taking.
government's coming in with guns to take you
Yeah.
away.
Ah,
Yeah.
all right.
So it's kind of like I guess it reminds me of the Purge, I guess, without like, legal killing. It's just more like the Purge where the government's like taking charge of the situation. Yeah.
It's like a V for Vendetta
For Vendetta a
over,
little bit.
yeah, mixed with horror.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. So Bradley Whitford, that's Eric from Billy Madison. That's how I'll always know him. He's the bad guy. Let's see. Craig Robinson, that's he's from Parks and Recs, right? Or from The Office?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's super
He's the one
funny.
that's the musician and the comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dope.
Jenna Ortega was from season 2 of You, and she was also in that movie that we all watched a couple of weeks. Caleb, actually, I don't know if you saw it, but The Babysitter 2.
No, I saw the Babysitter 1, but not 2.
It's fucking trash, dude.
I liked 1. I ain't gonna lie, 2 is ridiculous, but 1 was actually a good story in my opinion.
They're both trash.
I mean,
They
it's
were
silly
both
fun.
trash. All right. We'll move on. All right, that's cool. This one is Hannah John Kamen Douglas Booth. What the fuck? That's a lot of names. Hannah John Kamen Douglas Booth. Okay, hold up. That's 2 different people. We got Hannah John Kamen and Douglas Booth join creature feature The Little People as Warner Brothers takes UK rights. Billed as Gremlins meets Straw Dogs, the Ireland-set home invasion horror film about a gang of malevolent goblins has now wrapped production. Gremlins meets Straw Dogs. All right, I'm calling it right now. Somebody's getting fucked by a goblin in this movie.
Am I the only one who, when I heard this before I read what it was about, thought it was about like actual little people harassing people? Okay.
First thing I thought of, bro.
Nah, dude.
First thing.
No, I'm a decent human being, so that didn't even cross my mind.
Straw Dogs and Gremlins are just so different. Like, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Straw Dogs is a horrible movie. I mean, it's a great movie. It's just not a feel good movie, man. It's definitely some dark stuff. And then Gremlins is the exact opposite of that. Gremlins is like a fun, little morbid, violent, but like in a funny way.
Yeah.
It's an interesting split. I can't parse it in my mind, but when you say maybe it's just a home invasion movie. Maybe it's like the gremlin goblins are trying to get into the house, and so they like rig it up like the end of a Wes Craven movie, and they like basically Home Alone meets Gremlins or something like that. It could be cool, man.
Okay.
I mean, anything with goblins is kind of cool. Like, I'm kind of into
Yeah.
it. I'll check it out.
Yeah, same.
Hey, did you hear about this movie that's like Friday meets Star Wars?
Nah.
I made that up.
Oh.
So weird, though.
yeah, that would be
Sometimes
cool.
with people, I think they were just trying to like bill something. It could be nothing like either one of these films, and it's like, it's these 2 combined. You're like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of most random movies that have no like need to be next to each other. Like here's one. The Matrix meets Billy Madison.
There you go. Yeah. In. I don't know. I'm curious about this. I like little small budget horror movies. I like some Irish horror movies. There was one called I'm not gonna be able to think of what it was called. I feel like it was called The Woods or something like that. And there were a bunch of like mythical fairy monsters in it. It was a small budget thing. There was some creatures living out in the forest. If you guys know what it was, leave them in the comments section. Let's see.
No idea what it is. Sounds good though.
Atlas Guitar. Quote, somebody's getting fucked by a goblin is my favorite Jeremy quote now. It's on par with Pastor's famous quote, sex. All right.
You're going to have to get that clip. Play it.
All right. Next story. This one is like kind of cool because I like the person attached to it and I kind of like the franchise, but it looks like Patrick Wilson, who played Ocean Master in the Aquaman movie, but he's also done a million other things. He's Ed Warren in all the Conjuring movies. He was the baddie in the first Insidious movie. He's actually going to be directing the 5th installment of the Insidious franchise. I'm going to be honest. I didn't know there was 5 of them. I didn't know there was 4 of them. Have you guys been, Caleb, have you kept up with?
I'm sorry, were they counting the spinoffs or just the regular Conjuring movies?
No, see, okay, so there's the Conjuring 1 and 2, the Nun, the 3 Annabelle movies, and the Curse of La Llorona. That's the Conjuring universe. Insidious is the other ones. This is Insidious 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Man, I am off the charts. Sorry.
Bro, no, you're good.
I love that first Insidious movie, and I've never watched another one of them.
I don't think I've seen... I saw The Last Key, which I feel like was number 3 or 4. I didn't realize there were this many of them.
Insidious is the one with what's his name from Training Day, right?
No, that's Sinister, and that's also a really good movie.
Sinister is a really, really good movie, man.
I'm gonna be honest. I can see how you're getting all these mixed up. Conjuring, Insidious, Sinister, and Insidious in particular. Those are very similar names, so I'll give you that.
Man,
I for the longest time thought when people be like, "Oh, you've seen The Conjuring?" I'm like, "Yeah," not realizing that no, I hadn't seen The Conjuring. I'd seen Insidious.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
No shit. All right.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
So it looks like he's got 57 acting credits. Patrick Wilson does. He's really good. As far as directing, I don't think he's done anything, and so on that alone, I mean, I'm definitely curious. I'm definitely gonna go check it out because I do like him. He's done, I mean, a bunch of really good stuff. Like, let's see, he was in Watchmen. He played Night Owl. He was in The A-Team, which I didn't see. He was in Conjuring, Insidious Chapter 1 and 2. Bone Tomahawk, which is freaking awesome. I don't know if you guys have seen Bone Tomahawk. Highly recommend it. Yeah, dude, isn't it? Yeah, if you are in the chat and you just now heard us say that, you should check out Bone Tomahawk. It's freaking wild. Aquaman, Annabelle Comes Home, In the Tall Grass. So yeah, he's been doing a lot of horror movies, I guess, lately. But he must be homies with James Wan because he works with him very frequently. Everything, like I mentioned, from Aquaman to the Insidious movies to the Conjuring movies, and all of those are like in the James Wan realm. So I like James Wan's shit. So I don't know. I'm compelled to want to give this a chance, but I don't know if that means I have to go back and watch the other 3 Insidious movies.
That's the problem when they do these late entries is I'm a person, if I'm gonna watch it, I will watch all the others, and sometimes that's enough of a deal breaker for me not to watch the 5th one.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's see. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a time that I've seen an actor come off the hills of doing. Yeah, go ahead. You got an example?
Quiet Place. Incredible film.
That was the first one I thought about, dude. That's a really good call. John Krasinski came hard.
Technically, Peele, when he did Get Out.
It's a really good call as well. You're like not a well-known director until you put out the first movie, and then if you crush it like that, you can be it took Jordan Peele Get Out for people to know him as a director, and then after Us came out, it's like now he's a mainstay in the horror genre. So I mean, Patrick Wilson, I think, has the potential for that kind of thing because he is known to mainstream audiences, and he obviously understands the genre really well. He's worked very closely with people who know the genre very well. Ian, the Insidious is that one with the red-faced demon that looks like Darth Maul in it.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it before. It's
in the back, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's pretty good.
I've not seen it all, but I do know what you're talking about.
So you know what? Another actor turned director, probably the biggest example I can think of that became huge.
Get it?
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, yeah.
Oh yeah. Opie.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it is a thing. And I mean, who knows directing better than actors? You know what I mean? They're on the other side of it for so long. They probably learn the best ways of getting performances out of people by learning what they hate, you know?
You know who surprised me, man, was Olivia Wilde with Booksmart. she killed that movie in my opinion.
It's another really good example of an actress or an actor that turned into a good director. That's a really good call because Booksmart was excellent.
Oh yeah, surprised me.
Mm-hmm. Did you see it, Caleb?
No, I didn't. I definitely would add it to the list, though. I don't even know what it's about. You know?
It's like a female super bad, honestly.
That's
Oh, okay.
almost yeah. That's a really good way of putting it. That's about
That was
right.
a very concise summary of it.
Basically, yeah.
All right, so this one, Caleb, you actually illuminated more than I know anything about. There's a article in Bloody Disgusting called "Action Slasher Comic: The Strange Talent of Luther Strode Gets a Feature Film Adaptation." Luther Strode, first of all, I get that. It's like a spin on Laurie Strode from Halloween. So we've got a little bit of nod to the Halloween franchise, and so it's a Image comic book that is mixing the worlds of slasher films and the world of superhero movies. Caleb, what do you think about the book before we even talk about the movie?
So I'm not super far into it. I'm about probably halfway through it. I actually randomly, it was on sale, so I picked it up on Comixology, probably because of this movie announcement, why it was so cheap. So I just started reading it. So first of all, it is very fan servicey, with not like anime fan servicey, but like there is just nerdy reference after nerdy reference.
Ah,
In the first issue, I think they reference, in my opinion, too much. It's like The Thing, Akira, Star Wars. The high school they go to is Voorhees High School.
oh wow.
It's like every scene you're like, okay, I get it. You guys like nerdy shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's very, the way I would picture this, it's very, have you ever seen Shoot 'em Up?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the vibe of this comic. It's very like tongue-in-cheek, very grindhousey. Like one scene, he throws Slim Jims into a guy's gun and it explodes.
Okay.
Like that's the vibe. I actually don't think the comic's that great. I don't dislike it. But I think if anything, it probably would work better in film than it would in the comic book, because you can do all these things like stylized things in comics with ton of gore, which is it's a ridiculous amount of gore, and it doesn't have the same effect as if you got a cool director to do something like that. I think someone like a James Gunn could handle this really interesting. He obviously won't. He has much bigger stuff to do. But someone like that style, I think, could really nail this.
Do you like the art style in the comics?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, the art's kind of cool. It's very early 2000s Image.
Huh. Is that when the comic was published?
No, I think it's fairly recent.
Okay. Ian, hearing
I
Caleb talk
tell you.
about this, what do you think?
I mean, he seems like a master at his craft. I can't wait to see it.
Deftly splices together the common DNA of the superhero and slasher archetypes for a brash and bloody adventure that's equal parts comic book escapism and action horror hybrid. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I'm loving the indie comics, man. Seriously, I'm just ready to get away from all the commercial success of comics when it comes to like DC and Marvel. And I'm loving these like indie comics, these unknowns.
That's all I read anymore. I've gotten to the point where I don't read any superhero comics anymore. I just read a bunch of random obscure indie stuff. Some of it's great, some of it's bad, but it's all interesting.
Oh, for sure, for sure. That's what I'm on right now, man. Me too. Like I'll whatever has the coolest title that's unknown, I'm giving them a shot.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. Yeah, if the cover's cool, I'm in. Like that's all you can give me.
I feel like we've skirted this kind of theme recently with shows like The Boys, but even more specifically and more on the nose like Brightburn. But I don't think that this is going to be like Brightburn. Like it's a different vibe, right, Caleb? Like it doesn't have that kind of.
Yeah, it's entirely different. And I just looked it up. The comic's from 2013, so not too long ago.
Is the Luther Strode, is he the hero or the villain?
He's the hero. So he's very here's a picture of the art if you guys can see it without it blurring.
Who's he slashing up?
Criminals. So he's essentially like a slasher for criminals. It's funny. I didn't get a whole slasher vibe. I'm not super far into it from it so far. I just got like a super violent superhero. And
right.
Oh wow.
He becomes a superhero by reading comic books. He reads a Hercules comic book, and that's how he becomes a superhero, because he starts training like Hercules.
Huh.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
very, so it's very like, it is intentionally campy, cheesy, feels very grindhouse, almost exploitation style film.
Well, I'm definitely curious. I mean, that's got a lot of the ingredients in it that should make me enthusiastic about it. I even like Image, as far as a publisher, so I'm curious about it. It would take a lot to get me super excited about anything with slashers, anything with superheroes. Like right now, I'm like, man, what are it would be like, there's this new zombie movie coming out. You don't know anything about it. Are you excited about it? It's like, I guess I've not seen too many zombie movies. But then at the same time, we did a podcast last week and we talked about at least 2 really good new zombie movies. So it's not like they necessarily are out of gas. Just sometimes I'm over it. I'm ready to move on. And then they keep dragging me back in.
When it comes to those franchises, you got to be definitely very unique to get someone's attention. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, that is my hard out, everyone. I got to go be out for the night.
Good.
So have a good stream. I will see you guys later.
Good riddance,
All right,
Caleb.
Good seeing you, bro.
Talk to you soon, man. Oh, look at you. You just got promoted, bro.
Look at me. I'm Caleb now. Aha. I get the full beard next week. Thank you.
Yes. Let me try to give you a little bit more leeway here. And let's see if we got any news stories left.
Oh, did you see the one we were talking about in our private chat about Josh Whedon and the situation with what's his name? Cyborg.
Oh, let's talk about it. I vaguely saw it. So tell me.
Yeah, Ray Fisher. He's saying that he wanted to CGI his skin tone a little darker, I believe, or just CGI his skin tone. For what reason, I have no idea. But this is the ongoing beef that Ray Fisher is having with Josh Whedon, saying that there was toxicity on set of the Justice League movie.
Okay, so for the folks at home, let's see if we can break this down concisely. Ray Fisher plays Cyborg. In the Snyder cut of the film, he was initially supposedly the heart of the film. That's like a direct quote from Zack Snyder. Cyborg was going to be the heart of the film. The Whedon cut comes out. Cyborg's role had been sidelined, I suppose, to say the least. He didn't have a very major role in the finished product.
Mm-hmm.
At first, he was towing the company line and said some good things about Joss Whedon right after the film wrapped, as you would. You got to go do press and all that stuff. But then shortly after that, it started to kind of leak out, and he had made some statements that were very critical of Joss Whedon and things that were going on the set, implicating Jeff Johns and another person. I can't think of who it is right now. And there's been a bit of back and forth. In fact, the people at Warner Brothers tried to bring in a third-party detective people, so like a third-party person to come in and investigate and try to get to the bottom of it. Ray Fisher refused to cooperate with them because he said they weren't actually objective, that they were actually working for Warner Brothers, so that it wasn't like as objective or from the outside looking in as he would have liked it to be. So there's been a lot of back and forth lately, and Ray Fisher kept saying he was going to release specific things about what it is that Joss Whedon did, and it sounds like so far this is the first specific thing I've heard him say other than just generally Joss Whedon was an asshole. So what do you think about, I mean, I'm sure that you've got, more specific thoughts about how that you would react to something like that than I do. In my mind, I'm like, fuck, I color correct myself and everybody that comes on my show every time I record something. So I don't know, do you think that it is inherently a bad thing, or is there a way that you can change somebody's skin tone without it being a racist thing?
Honestly, when it comes to production like that, that's hard to tell. I'm not going to jump on this racist train. I don't see a lot of people jumping on the racist train on this subject because when it comes to production, I have the lighting it's making me look lighter than I actually am. I'm not crazy dark or nothing, but I'm looking kind of pale than usual because of the lighting in this room. So I'm sure, like, especially like how dark the DC movies are, like where you freaking need to like seems like you're wearing glasses when you're watching it. So
Uh-huh.
I'm sure I'm sure there's something to that. So I can't judge a production choice like that to racism. I don't know, but there is obviously a little bit of a past where like some people prefer the lighter people in like music videos, or like there's a beauty choice when it comes to certain skin tone. I don't think it's that deep. I do think it probably is a production choice when it comes to the lighting, because it's definitely a different tone than a lot of other movies. But I don't know. He didn't really give us too much facts on it. He just threw that out there and tried to let us YouTubers try to decipher it. It's kind of weird. I for me, I kind of leaned on believing him when it comes to the toxicity on set, but you're gonna have to give me more than that for me to like fully believe what was going on, because that's just it's a editing choice in my opinion.
Yeah, it's
I
tough,
don't know.
man. It's tough. I agree with you. I mean, I feel like that's it would be a different thing, and we don't know what it is. It could be there were in the editing bay, or the director or whatever was like, these people's skin is looking too washed out. We need to add a little bit of color to them. Then, hey, this black dude over here, we need to change the color of his skin. It would be different if they were doing it to one character, or if they were doing it to all of the people of color versus not doing it to anybody else. We don't know if this was a choice that they made specifically for Ray Fisher, for the character of Cyborg, and they were just going to color correct him, or if they were doing it across the board for everybody else. But I can't pick a side. I don't know anything about this. I believe that Joss Whedon's an asshole. If Ray Fisher said that he had a bad experience with Joss Whedon, I don't have any reason in the world to not believe him. I just don't know that Ray Fisher's not an asshole. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
We don't know this guy.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like Justice League was the first, or Batman vs Superman was the first time I've seen him. So like, and these are celebrities at the end of the day. They give you that persona on social media or in the public and press and all that stuff. But we don't know. From what your homeboy Kevin said, he believes that Josh Whedon could be an asshole just by like hearing him at a Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still a good filmmaker. So like some choices people might not agree with, but like he thinks it's better for the film. It is hard to tell, like you said. This is a subject where like, dude, give us all the information or don't. Okay?
Yeah.
Because this is, if you're gonna drag it on so long, like give us a little bit more. If not, just shut up about it. I don't know. I don't want to silence somebody if they have been abused on set. But come on, I'm trying to root for you, man, because I don't want anything happening like that on set from what he's saying. I don't want any toxicity or abuse going on. But like,
Same.
it's hard to defend somebody if they're not giving you the full story. I know there might be lawyers involved in something, but like it's hard to make a call about this subject.
That's a good point as well. Like, it's easy to pile on for people who aren't in the Ray Fisher camp and be like, well, why isn't he saying anything? Maybe there is legal reasons why, and he's actually not able to come out and give more information. But yeah, dude, for this entire time, and I'm sure it affects everybody differently, this entire time I've just kind of been in the camp of like, this is non-news. This is not a story, because he's not given us enough to be. If there was that one thing, the smoking gun, you know what I mean? The thing that he could point to, like you were just now saying, if you give us something, then I can make a more specific kind of assessment of the situation. But right now, I just feel like it's Ray Fisher thinks Joss Whedon's an asshole. Oh, Joss Whedon's not an asshole. And then like, I don't know.
Yeah, it is like a non-issue, like, and it's being dragged so long. Like,
Yeah.
God, I mean, I know 2020 is like it's a rough media situation when it comes to what we do, being fans of movies and television and pop culture. But man, just can we move on and find something else out? Like, yeah, does Brad Pitt have toe jam? Let's talk about that. Like, switch it up from time to time.
Yes.
Like, again, with the Snyder cut and the Ray Fisher stuff and Josh Whedon stuff again. Come on.
Yeah, dude, this is the story. The Snyder cut and just Justice League in general is the gift that keeps on giving. I don't think we're ever gonna stop talking about it.
Yeah. I can't wait to see this Snyder cut thing. But like at the end of the day, like you said, I'm kind of over it as well, over the conversation.
So I don't know if Brad Fedek is in the chat right now. Hopefully he will join us if in playback if he's not here now. Brad, if you are in here, what's up, man? We got a suggestion for a topic, or at least a question that you asked over on Patreon. So if you are a Patreon supporter and you have topics that you would like to see discussed on an upcoming episode, all you got to do is go over there, check out the tiers, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. And if you are a patron, then you can submit topics and we will probably discuss them on upcoming episodes. This particular topic that he sent me is 80s and 90s slasher films. Should they be brought back? Freddy and Jason with today's movie tech and effects. What do you think, Ian? 80s and 90s slasher films, should they be brought back?
Absolutely. And,
Okay.
There's this movie. I mean, there's a show that I watched, I think 2 years ago called Slasher. It was a Canadian show on Netflix, and man, they did it so well. I mean, I know this is more your realm when it comes to like horror and slasher stuff, but like I was very intrigued in the style that they shot it in. It felt like an 80s or 90s movie. And I'm all for it, as long as it's original, because we can only do so much scenarios when it comes to Freddy, Jason, and Michael and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see a little bit more like originality with inspiration from those past movies right there. Like, let's make a different monster. Let's be creative. Let's go from the indie comics and see what we could do with that.
I like that. I think that's a good call. With slashers, it's just that Scream kind of ruined it. And I mean that in the best way. Like, I love Scream. It's probably my favorite of any of the slasher movies. But after Scream, it's very difficult to go back to a world where characters aren't aware of Jason and Michael Myers and Freddy. Like, they deconstructed the genre until it kind of like caved in on itself. I mean,
when it comes to subjects, like we watched the other day that new movie with Kurt Russell, where he was like a guy that was just chasing people down. What was it called? He was driving his truck. It was like a road rage movie. I forgot what it's called.
The Quentin Tarantino Death Proof?
No, it wasn't Death Proof. It wasn't Kurt Russell either. It was Russell Crowe. I'm sorry.
Oh,
the one
okay.
that came out this year. He had road rage. But yeah, when I see that, I'm thinking maybe you could switch things up. Like, this guy was a guy stalking somebody because of road rage. What if you had like a crazy tax collector? Like, hey, pay your taxes or I'm going to slap you up. Something stupid like that. Because horror is ridiculous in general. But like, if you switch up the stuff where make it relatable of everyday people that you could fear, I think that's dope. I think that you could do that. Like, oh, it's the Chipotle guy. And you gave him a hard time, and now he's gonna murder your kids.
Yo, do I need to see Unhinged? Is it good?
Yeah, that's what it was. Unhinged. It's okay. It felt like a good Redbox movie.
All right.
All
right. I've been meaning to check that out.
Yeah.
So with 80s and 90s slasher films, should they be brought back? Let's see. Halloween 2018, Friday the 13th 2009, Nightmare on Elm Street, I don't know, 2012, something like that. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's another reboot that's about to hit the theaters next year. Scream 5 is about to come out.
Damn.
I know, right? Yeah, especially Texas Chainsaw. So these slasher movies, they ain't gone anywhere, and they do keep trying to bring them back with modern technology and modern effects. My kind of assessment of it is that 80s are of a specific time, and that time has passed. There was a movie called Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Ian, you should check that out. It's available on Shudder. It's really good, and it's another kind of meta commentary on the slasher subgenre, and it does a good job. But if you're just talking about putting teenagers out in a cabin and having a killer come and stalk them and kill them, I just feel like it's been done too many times to really leave a lasting impression. You would have to find some creative way of doing it.
I mean, I think they've tried to attempt, like, with those there was like this social media movie that came out a couple years ago where like they message you and said, hey, you're gonna die in a couple of days. I guess that's them trying to keep with the times. I forgot what that movie was.
Countdown.
But yes, Countdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see something. Why don't you do something with TikTok?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you don't land this certain dance move down, TikTok McGee is going to slice your head off.
TikTok McGee coming to a theater near you. All right. So there's a couple TV shows though. They're from 80s and 90s horror properties. Hellraiser and Nightbreed are both getting television shows on premium TV. So those are two that I'm excited for. And if I was gonna like see a modern retelling of like a horror movie from the 80s that could benefit from today's effects but not CGI, I would love to see them go and do a like a high budget or mid budget Puppet Master movie using all of the stop motion effects that they have, you know, advanced up to this day. Like look at something like Corpse Bride or even Isle of Dogs or something. Like if you can take that caliber of stop motion and then use that on the Puppet Master movie, that would be badass.
That would be dope. And even just like Robot Chicken, like a serious version of Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
That would be dope because they do pretty good with the gory stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. But I'm all for the puppet motion though. I'm all for that. There's something about puppets I love, bro. I don't know why.
Yep.
Guilty pleasure.
So speaking of guilty pleasures, I know why you guys all came here. You came here to talk about that movie that you didn't watch. That me and Ian watched. I'm glad you did. I was actually not sure if you were going to, and not only am I happy to hear that you watched it, I'm happy to hear that you I don't know. Did you like it?
Oh, I loved it, man. Toddy liked it as well, man. It was one of those movies where I felt, because I'm not really a big fan of found footage movies, and this is what this was, but this one really impressed me, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Michael Granger, Tyler Adams, Martial Arts Film Freak. You guys need to go check out Martial Arts Film Freak's YouTube channel, by the way. And we've also got a debate coming up on Momentum Media tomorrow at noon, so tune in for that. Yeah, Tyler says, how are you going to not mention Leica? That's a very good point. Martial Arts Film Freak followed up with Kubo and the Two Strings. Best stop motion. Yes, Leica is amazing, and it's people like me are the reason why Leica freaking went under, because I should be championing it more. I love all of their movies. They did the Box Trolls, Coraline, Kubo and the Two Strings. Like everything they did is freaking golden.
Yeah, Kubo and the was it 6 strings or 3 strings?
2 strings.
So yeah, that was a very slept on movie when it came out, like 2017, I think. It's really good.
Yeah, it is very good. It's probably the best animation that's going on right now. So yeah, no disrespect to Leica. Sorry about that, guys. Love Leica. So the movie we're talking about is Hell House LLC. It came out in 2015. As Ian mentioned, it's kind of a found footage movie. I mean, it's a found footage movie, just in a very interesting way. They opened this movie up with news footage of an accident that happened at the Abaddon Hotel. 15 people died in this tragic fire. Nobody knows exactly what happens, but there's a documentary being made about these people that had moved into the Abaddon, I don't know, the hotel. They moved into the hotel to turn it into a haunted house. And once they got there, they were going to film and document everything. Basically, they go from town to town and they create haunts for the season. Normally, they do it a little closer to New York, which is where they're all from, but they kind of go to a more like remote, more rural area where there's this old creepy hotel that's got an old creepy history. There's a big accident that happens, and then we kind of flash back to a month before that with this film crew that's putting together this haunt, and it's a really, really creepy movie. I happened to stumble upon it, a couple years back, and since then I've probably watched it 4 or 5 times. It's one of my favorite movies in the found footage genre, and I think it's like a perfect Halloween movie because it's actually about Halloween. You watched it with Toddy last night?
Yes, we watched it together last night, and I think the fact you could tell this movie probably didn't take a lot of money to make, just because like they could literally film this in an abandoned. They put this in an abandoned hotel, like that's where the movie is set in, and I feel like that's literally all they had to do is get some Halloween props, because a lot of the scares came from those freaking rubber Halloween props.
Yeah,
and this movie might, I mean, if they were really trying to conservate their budget, it could have costed probably about $2,000, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
And
obviously that's a little bit hyperbolic, but you're right. Like,
yeah,
how many thousands of dollars would it take to do that as long as you had the location? Real quick, Jim Loves Art, 199 super chat. Hell House was very fun. Thirst, also very fun. Yeah, that's cool. You checked out Thirst. I'd like to talk to you a little about that sometime, Jim. But Hell House is fun. I feel like it's very effective at setting a feeling of dread. I mean, you know where it's ending up because it starts there, but then like getting there is pretty suspenseful and tense. And
I
there's a
felt like Brad Pitt, at the end of Seven, where he's like, "What's in the box, man?" The whole time I'm like, "What's in the basement, man? What's in the basement?"
Yo,
Come
that
on.
that location is so creepy.
Yeah.
Just and what's cool about it is because it's found footage and because the characters are like walking around through the house and carrying the cameras with them, you get a real firm understanding of the actual geographical layout of the place. You know where the basement's at in relationship to the dining room, in relationship to like each of the different spaces. And so there's a cast of like, I think it's 5 people. It's a guy and his girlfriend, and then his best friend, AV guy, and like a more security type guy. I feel like
Yeah.
there's 4 guys and a girl, and they're all buddies, but they're also like coworkers. Like there's the 2 main guys that are actually really tight, and then the other guys are like more employees. But they've all got this. They all want to be, big time haunters, which is actually a documentary called Haunters on Shudder. That's all about the subculture of people that create these very extravagant and expensive haunted houses and haunted attractions for people to come and experience. Is that something that you've ever been into? Are you familiar with that subculture? Have you ever been to any cool haunted houses?
I have once, and I would love to actually. The more and more we talk about this and actually watching this movie, you've got me more interested in stuff like this. Like, I've never really hated on you for like loving this, but I just never could contribute in this conversation because I'm not really into a lot of horror movies. But like last couple of days, just conversation, I'm really intrigued and want to dig in more into the Shudder app and horror movies in general. But like, no, to answer your question about horror, haunted houses though, there was this place where I'm from in Panama City called the Martin House, and this house was actually on one of those real haunted house shows on one of those television shows, reality television, and we heard the backstory, like this guy killed his wife and his kids and hung himself, and it was something generic like that, and we were in high school. We had these girls just hanging out, and we're like, man, let's go to the Martin House on a date. Yeah, they're gonna give us coochie after that, right? so we take them to we take them to the haunted house, and we're like, let's go to the door, let's go inside. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. These are black girls that don't play that. So we dare each other to like just touch the doorknob. And boy, I ran up to the door and touched it, and I almost pissed my pants and ran back. Almost left the girls. I got in the car, like, yo, we gotta go. They're trying to kill me. That's my only like experience with like a real haunted house. I didn't even go inside. I just knew like the backstory and knew that supposedly people hear and see things there.
Was it a creepy looking house?
Oh yes. It's like one of those. Looks like it's got a fence all around it. It looks like an old slave plantation with moss hanging off from the trees. So you already know, like, I'm terrified that like an old slave is gonna grab me and be like, "Oh, which way is north?"
Bro, okay, so that's a different scenario. Have you ever been to a haunted attraction?
Oh, JC's, that's about it. Oh no, wait, let me take that back. I went to JC's, and then 2 years ago we did the one at Orlando, which was
Terror on Church Street.
No, just Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, dude. There's one on Church. Church Street. I can't
Church
not
Street.
make that sound ghetto. Church Street, in Orlando.
No, I've not been to that one. I just been to the one at Universal.
So Church Street's like it's kind of like Bourbon Street. It's a downtown strip. It's like right near Ybor City or whatever.
Oh, okay.
down in Orlando, and it's called Terror on Church Street, and it's like a European style haunted house, and the production design is impeccable. It's you can tell it's a $1 million a year industry. People come from miles and miles around to go down there, and they've got all the best prosthetics and effects, and it's very theatrical. And I've always really liked haunted houses and haunted mazes for that side of it. Like, I love the gore, makeup, and the cool prosthetic like monster faces and all that kind of shit. So I really
Right.
like all of that going into this. And in fact, dude, I don't know if I've ever talked about this on a stream before, but when I was in 7th and 8th grade, my mom and dad let me turn their house, our house growing up, into a haunted house. They gave me a, not a big budget, but a reasonable budget to turn the house into a haunted attraction that trick-or-treaters could come through and, kind of experience it. And we had each of the different rooms was its own respective theme, and we had scare actors, and everybody had costumes on, and it was a big production. It was a big deal. So I always really liked Halloween for that side of it. I feel like it's a really cool opportunity to be able to like express yourself creatively and get weird and just do shit that's not normally that you just don't normally see.
Oh, for sure. That's why Halloween's my favorite. Halloween is my favorite holiday, just because, like you said, we can be somebody else. We can, give thanks, or not give thanks, but glorify who we think is dope.
Yeah.
But also just try to just expression that you can get judged with throughout the year. I would love to do it. I would love to do cosplay or Halloween costumes like it's normal. Like screw name brands, screw Nike and all this crap. Let's wear the Halloween 75s,
Yeah.
Let's change it up, man.
I went to the Spirit Halloween last night, and I guess I don't have it right here with me, but I got my costume. It's just like a generic I had to wear a mask because it's the COVID shit. So I wish I could find it, but I guess it's not in here. But it doesn't matter. Okay, so in in Hell House LLC, as they are starting to build this place, they start experiencing small scale haunts. And one of my favorite scenes is early on, and it's when the dude wakes up in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
and he's talking to the camera, and you see the door is open behind him, and that figure walks into the room and is just standing there with him, and he's talking. He has no idea it's there, and then when it turns around and walks out, he's like, "Oh, hey, Ian, is that you?" And there's no response, and it just disappears. That shit was creepy.
That was creepy. And you not only did you saw the shadow of the person, but you didn't get clarity it was that girl. It was just like a shadowy figure.
Yes.
But I was like, yeah, that was creepy as hell. I was like, nah, I would have to get confirmation that's her. Like, I don't know if I go back to sleep. Like, there was a lot of scenes like that. Like, I don't want to skip around too much. But
It don't matter.
There was that other scene where he was in bed and he saw the girl with the fucked up eyes, and he went underneath this sheet. He opened it and she kept getting closer and closer. Oh no, I would have had to bum rush her and take off, man. That was one of the creepiest scenes in the movie.
Scary as hell, bro.
Yes.
So scary. But okay, so there is that thing, and I think you just now mentioned something that a lot of people that don't like horror have major hangups with stupid behavior. In my mind, if they don't do the dumb shit, you don't have a movie, so you just kind of have to let them do the dumb shit, or else you don't get... If the person just leaves the haunted house in the first scene, the movie's very, very short. Nothing, that's not an exciting story. So they have to make bad decisions. But did you feel like they did a decent job justifying it in this movie, or were there just times where you're like, fucking come on, dude?
Yeah, I think they so I remember watching, and this is a parody of a scary movie. It was that one that Marlon Wayans did the other day, a couple years ago, a haunted house.
Yeah.
Where he immediately got scared and he's like, "All right, we're moving, we're getting out of there." And then he tried to leave, and he said, "Oh, I can't leave. It's I can't sell a house in this market," and stuff like that. That was what centered them to keep him in the house. I thought that was brilliant, even for a dumb movie like a haunted house. That was a good way to keep them grounded into this story, like, because anybody would have left. In this movie, I think they played off really well, because there was that scene where that dude wanted to leave. He's like, "Oh, F this, I'm out, I quit." But then they brought it back where he was talking to this dude like privately, and they didn't tell him what they were conversating about, but it seemed like it had something to do with like financial issues. Like, hey,
Yes.
if we leave now, we're gonna be financially fucked. We're gonna be broken, and it just seemed like the worst things in life that could be more scary than a potential ghost. Like, it's the IRS coming after you.
That's a
So
really good
yeah.
point. Yeah, I forgot about that scene. It's like he calls him over to the side and they're discussing and the camera's like kind of
Mm-hmm.
pointed at him, but you can't hear what they're saying. Yeah, that's a good way of dealing with that kind of stuff. I mean, the
Yep.
best writers would be able to come up with organic reasons why they can't do A or they can't do B, but a lot of times you just got to roll with it. It's like, how many times have you been like, don't go into the basement, don't go
Yeah.
into the basement? But if they
Mm-hmm.
don't go into the basement, you don't have a movie. And dude, the basement scene on this is so terrifying.
Amazing.
The
Yeah, it's
first one,
terrifying, bro.
when he first gets trapped down there and the lights are strobing, and down at the bottom of the staircase, there's the two dummies. And then all of a sudden, there's the extra dummy, and he's just freaking out and pounding on the door, like, let me out, let me out. And that's when it breaks him, because once he comes back from that, like, he's not the same after. No, wait. It was the girl that changed him. The scene you talked about where he pulls the sheet over his head.
Oh yes. That's what drove him a little bit crazy toward the end. Like, that's when he didn't want to go to the haunted house after that. He was just like, he was done.
Yeah.
It seemed like they possessed him or something like that, or he was just like, he was messed up for the rest of the movie.
The performances are pretty good in it. I feel like, because
Dude, yeah.
I doubt there was a script. I bet it was a lot of improv.
And it was great improv. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of found footage movies, but this one, I literally forgot I was watching a movie sometimes. I was just like, this sounds like me and my homeboys if we were in this situation. So I
Yeah.
think that their improv skills was at a 10. Seriously, they killed those roles.
There's a sequel. There's actually two sequels. There's Hell House LLC 2 and 3.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Are they worth the watch though? Be honest.
Nah. I got
Okay.
you in a
I was
place
about to
right
say, 'cause
now.
if they were, I'll watch them tonight.
I got you in a place right now where you're kind of potentially getting into maybe watching more horror movies, and I feel like if I'm like, yeah, you got to go watch those, and then you see them, you might be like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can trust you anymore. They're all right. They're definitely not great movies. They're definitely not on the level of Hell House, but if you like really liked Hell House, I would highly recommend it, because the third one's actually pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't feel like they're I don't
They're
feel
not
like
worth it.
nah.
No, well, I want to say the breakout performances were definitely the dummies, though. Those were the males that had
Yo.
me about to shit my pants.
Yes, dude. That one clown in particular, that thing is gonna be like iconic. I feel like it's one of the most like recognizable and unsettling clowns that I've seen in a movie
See,
outside of
that was
Pennywise.
the part where I wanted to yell at the screen, like, why don't you just remove that clown? Like, seriously,
Get
like,
him out.
it's not gonna, just
Yeah.
burn him or just throw him out. That one's not gonna mess up the whole situation. If he's delaying one, on the stairs and moving his head around and stuff like that, just get rid of him. The other ones ain't doing all that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I like the idea that it's not just the found footage, that we've actually got like cell phone footage from people that was uploaded to YouTube. And then there's the journalist who's interrogating the girl,
Mhm.
the one girl that was at the haunted house. She was not found immediately, but then she goes and she speaks with a detective, and they've got her in like an interrogation booth. And somehow she's able to talk the girl into going and meeting her at the hotel. And in that whole scene, dude, I was just so stressed out. I really do feel like this is an effectively unnerving movie. And I've seen a lot of shit, but this one, I wouldn't say it like scared me, but it was intense to watch it.
Oh yeah, I think it was more creepy than scary, actually. Like, we've all been down that long dark hall and we're like, man, anything just come out and scare the hell out of me. And they had a lot of those scenes where it was just the hallway and strobe lights.
Uh-huh.
And then if it was like a blink you missed, you literally see like a figure in the middle of the scene and then they're gone. And it's just like, it's your eyes. Sometimes it's your eyes playing tricks on you in real life. But like, we've all been in the situations, how manly we are that we want it to say that we are. There's times where we just want to sprint down that hallway like, you can't catch me, ghost.
Yeah.
And this movie was just so grounded like that. It made it feel real. Like they were fighting over who's gonna go downstairs and shit like that. That's me all day.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. You just now reminded me of one of the scenes. It was the first day that they're there, and they walk by one of the bedrooms, and then it freeze frames and goes back to that black spectral presence, just like standing in the corner the whole time. Yeah, dude, it's wild. It's wild. I highly recommend it. I think it's one of your best choices for a Halloween horror movie that focuses on Halloween and acknowledges that it is a Halloween movie. It's scary. It's actually got some pretty funny parts in it. It's inspiring as somebody who would love to make movies but would never have access to millions of dollars. It's like with just a little bit of ingenuity, you can make some really effective shit.
Oh, seriously, yeah. And I mentioned earlier, like it probably didn't cost a lot to make. 2000s, it's just me throwing out a random.
No,
number.
I know.
It's probably worth that. But no. When it comes to creativity and a good script, you don't need Michael Bay's budget. Seriously,
No.
I would rewatch this movie way over a lot of these blockbusters. Like, so I thank you for like suggesting this movie, and I'm glad we got to talk about it. And thank you for opening my mind to the horror genre. Seriously,
That's like the
really
best
open-minded
compliment you could give me, man. That is so cool. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so if we have to quantify it, if you're gonna rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, where does Hell House LLC come in for you?
So I'm gonna rank it high. I don't know. It's because like of my lack of understanding of the horror genre. But I'm gonna rank it a 4. Seriously, it's got rewatch quality. Just to see other people's reaction, I think it'd be worth a rewatch. But yeah, I was legit like nervous, and my anxiety was through the roof. So if any movie, regardless of what it is, makes me feel something, I'm always gonna give it a high score.
4 out of 5. I'm right there with you, man. I feel like
man.
it's an effective horror movie. I feel like it's one of the better found footage films out there. And
sure.
I also just think that even if you're not necessarily into gore and slaughter films or splatter films or slashers or any of that, there's still stuff to like in Hell House LLC. It's not a movie that relies on gore and gross out. It's really just about suspense and some jump scares. There's definitely a good couple jump scares in there. Scariest scene, Ian, what was the part that got you the most?
Besides that girl that kept coming up to the door, I think
I mean, if that's the answer, that's the answer, because that's my answer, is that
I think that it was it. I think that one, I mean, just the creepiness in the hallway scared me as well, man. But the funniest scene, which I should not be laughing, is when we actually got to the basement and they're like, the girl was hanging like, oh, this is real. This is not part of it.
Yeah. He just dipped.
And they said later that he committed suicide, like what, 2 or 3 days later or a week later. But that's the sad about it. But like, she's literally like, help, get me down. This isn't real. He slowly walks out like, all right, I'm
Yeah, because they couldn't get a camera down there. No, they couldn't have security down there, so they had to get one of the scare actors to be the security. Some shit.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And that actress is the one that even tells them about the history of the hotel. Like, previous to them talking to her, they don't even know that this place has had like a history, a string of unsolved murders and terrible shit going on. But
right.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm really curious to see. Oh, okay. Mark McKeever says the guy slashing his throat was a crazy scene. Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was. I kind of saw it coming though. Like we always knew he was possessed anyway at the end. Just how he just stomped the girl out for no reason. So
yeah,
I kind of figured like, he was gonna either hang himself or do something to himself. But yeah, it's still a hard watch. I definitely agree.
I'm trying to see if anybody else touched on the movie before we wrap this thing up. Trick or treat is not being encouraged. Oh, okay, that's about Halloween specifically. Oh, speaking of Trick or Treat, if you guys haven't seen Trick or Treat, directed by Michael Dougherty, make sure that you check that out. Also, it's a very fun Halloween movie. Let's see.
For sure.
Michael Granger, I'm a horror hound and fell in love with anthologies since Trick or Treat, and Viral was interesting. I agree with you on 2. That's not for me. Let's see. I don't think I've seen Viral before, so I might need to check that. Oh, wait. VHS Viral. It's the 3rd VHS movie, I think. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you all stopping by to check out this week's edition of Movies Are Terrible live on the Movies Are Terrible YouTube channel. And you guys are amazing. I hope that you have a good and safe Halloween, no matter what you're doing out there. Ian, are you gonna go trick or treating? Do y'all got plans?
Yeah. Well, I have a child, so I guess I'm required to do that.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend's brother actually does haunted houses in Orlando, which is we live in Tampa, so it's like an hour away. So he has a haunted house in his yard, and we're gonna volunteer and help him out. But he's also lives in a wealthier neighborhood than us, so we're gonna take advantage of their candy.
Nice.
Get their candy and Rolexes.
Yeah, there you go, dude. If they're passing out Rolexes, grab me one.
Hell yeah, bro.
All right, you guys, make sure that you are subscribed to The Controversy. Head over there, smash that subscribe button, give them a shout, let them know that Jeremy sent you. Also, if you're not subscribed here, what are you doing? How did you make it an hour and 18 minutes into my podcast without subscribing, you guys? Make sure to click the like button.
Hit that bell so you can get some more of Jeremy Branch.
Bing!
I know I want some more.
Yes, all of these things. And also check down in the description. I will post links to various social media as well as the Patreon page for Movies Are Terrible. Head over there, take a look at the different tiers that I have set up, decide if any of them are right for you, and then when the time comes and you want to support independent content creators, maybe you can become a patron. Also, if you don't want to do that and you just want some cool swag for the holidays, check out the Movies Are Terrible page on Teespring. I've got some cool merchandise over there. It's actually the Team Terrible Teespring store. So head over there. You can get yourself a coffee mug, maybe a coronavirus mask, or a tote bag that you can carry around to conventions. All sorts of options, all sorts of cool shit over there. But thank you guys very much. And until next time, and on behalf of both of us, be terrible.